Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today guys, we have to mention several things from Carlos Baleba, but also Donnarumma, Ederson, Savio, Paquetá, and much more. Let's jump into it together. And so here we are guys, as always, with all the updates, as always, with all the latest on the market. And today guys, let me start by the latest news also regarding Manchester City, because James McAtee is going to Nottingham Forest, Jack Grealish went to Everton, but also Rico Lewis could be on his way out of Manchester City very soon. Yes, because Rico Lewis is in negotiations with Nottingham Forest. The player is keen on the move, is open to making his move to Forest. Forest are in negotiations with Manchester City. First bid already sent, around 25 million euros plus add-ons. City want more, so there is still no agreement club to club, but negotiations ongoing for Rico Lewis, who could be the next player to leave Manchester City in this summer transfer window, and for sure one to watch because City are very active on the market, and this is going to be an interesting situation to follow. I also wanted to mention another case, and it's the one of Lucas Paquetá. After difficult 24 months, but now clear of all the accusations, absolutely free to do whatever he wants, Lucas Paquetá is considering his options to leave West Ham in this final 2 weeks or so of the summer transfer window. Yes, Paquetá is assessing all the opportunities, all these options. Why? Because according to my information, Lucas Paquetá, after many years, also London, West Ham, always the same environment, wants to try a fresh challenge. So keep an eye on Paquetá, who could be one of the names for these final weeks of the window. His priority is Europe, European football at the highest level, because there is the World Cup in 2026 and he wants to be there with the Brazilian national team. And so at the moment, not keen on Saudi, not keen on return to Brazil, priority to Europe. We will follow that situation. An important case of the day, an important story of the day is the one regarding Carlos Baleba. Because I've been telling you for days, contacts ongoing, talks ongoing, but very difficult deal, but Man United wanted to try. Well, United this morning made direct club-to-club contact with Brighton for Carlos Baleba. So Manchester United have started the negotiations for Carlos Baleba. And Manchester United received a very clear answer from Brighton: not for sale. So Man United were expecting the deal to be difficult. Man United were expecting the deal to be very complicated for Carlos Baleba, but they found not a wall, more than this. More than this, because Brighton don't want to sell the player, because Brighton consider Baleba as an absolutely crucial part of their project, and this is also why the coach, Fabian Hürzeler, in the recent hours was quite clear on the case, on the situation, by mentioning how he was very confident to keep Baleba at the club. And also important to say on Carlos Baleba how the player is keen on the move to Manchester United, is attracted by Manchester United project, even without European football, even without Champions League football, even in a difficult moment of the history of Manchester United, Baleba is keen on that opportunity. But Baleba never told Brighton, I want to leave, I'm going to force the move. Baleba is still happy at Brighton, while he wants to go to Manchester United, but he's not destroying his relationship with Brighton. At least this is the situation as of today. And so Manchester United made this contact with Brighton, but the answer was no, the player is not for sale. Man United tried to understand if there was a number to reach in order to try to negotiate with Brighton, 100, 110, 120 million pounds, whatever. The answer from Brighton was no number. The player is not for sale. So that's the answer, that's the position, and obviously now for Manchester United it's probably going to be the case to explore different options on the market, to go for different midfielders. I can tell you that the appreciation of Manchester United for Baleba is not finishing here. So I don't think Manchester United will say, okay, goodbye to Baleba, we will not see you anymore. I think he will remain in the toes of Manchester United because, again, he's super appreciated by the management, but especially by the coach, Ruben Amorim, who is a big fan of Baleba. So I'm sure that this name will return in the conversations for Manchester United meetings, discussions, when it's going to be time to find the midfielder also in the future, because he's a player really appreciated. They were prepared to do something big in terms of proposal, but Brighton don't want to sell the player, and so we have to understand and respect their position. So this is the answer from United. We need to respect their position, because at the moment United probably leave the conversation for Baleba, unless it's Brighton changing their position or the player, and they will move on to look at different options for the midfield. So we'll be following that case, that situation. Important words coming from Pep Guardiola on the Savio situation. He said he's an extraordinary player. I expect him to stay at Manchester City, to be an important part of our project. So nice words for Savio, but then at the end of the answer, Pep Guardiola was not closing the doors to the situation of Savio. He always said it's the player deciding. So no one asked to leave Manchester City this summer. No one went to his office to say, okay, I want to go, I want to leave. But Pep also made to understand that in case it's the player who wants to go, we have to follow the situation. Tottenham remain interested in Savio. Tottenham know that the agents of Savio are in Europe, are in England, are in London to have conversations. So Savio Tottenham remains a deal ongoing. At the moment, difficult because Manchester City are rejecting the bids, because Manchester City want to keep the player. So it's not an easy deal, it's not an imminent deal. But at the moment, remains ongoing. So let's see and follow what's going to happen with Savio. Again, not an easy one. Manchester City still maintain their position on Savio, but let's see what's going to happen there. And then, guys, don't forget that for the game this weekend, there is a player who will not travel. And it's not just Savinho. Pep Guardiola said that Savinho is injured from the game, the friendly game against Palermo, but also Ederson not traveling for Manchester City game this weekend. Why? Guys, my understanding is that Galatasaray are in direct negotiations with Manchester City for Ederson. I know there are many denials. I know it's kind of strange story also in the media, but what I'm hearing is that Galatasaray and Manchester City are in direct negotiations for Ederson to go to Turkey. So this deal is concrete. This deal is serious. And obviously, if Ederson leaves, remember the name of Gigio Donnarumma, because Manchester City are in contact with the agents of Donnarumma, because Donnarumma is open to making a move to Manchester City, but also because Donnarumma knows that Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain are in direct club-to-club contact since Monday. The price is still not right, is still not what Manchester City want to pay for a goalkeeper in this moment, out of contract in 1 year. So obviously the price has to be reduced. Ederson has to leave, but I maintain my position. Ederson, conversations ongoing, Galatasaray, Ederson, with the agents, but also Galatasaray, Manchester City for Ederson. So keep an eye on that case, because it's not over at all. The situation of Ederson remains absolutely underway, and obviously if Ederson leaves, the Donnarumma story could be one of the big bombs of the final 2 weeks. Man City are really interested. On personal terms, they already started the discussion. Donnarumma is tempted by this opportunity. Premier League football, Pep Guardiola, a new, fresh challenge after what happened with Paris Saint-Germain. So this is going to be one to watch for sure. Galatasaray want a goalkeeper this summer. Ederson is their main target in this moment. Many questions from Galatasaray fans on Donnarumma, but I can tell you Donnarumma at the moment is not keen on the move to Turkey. His desire is to stay in Europe, highest level, so probably Premier League as the favorite destination, and Manchester City look like a concrete option for Donnarumma if they can agree on a deal with Paris Saint-Germain and if Ederson leaves destination Galatasaray. And so guys, let me know your thoughts on all these stories. Donnarumma, Ederson, Man City, Galatasaray, but also Rico Lewis, Nottingham Forest, Paquetá, the BALEBA story for Manchester United, who could be the right midfielder for them, and then all the rest, including all the other stories I've been telling you in the last hours in this crazy window coming to the final 2 weeks. Guys, let me know your opinion. Hit in the comments, like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon.